And now, ladies and gentlemen of the old world, we're back in business with a showdown between the Tomb Kings, who shall be led by Ark in the Black on his mighty meme chariot. And today, my friends, we face off against the High Elves, who shall be led by Anticity, coming in hot with Teclis. It is going to be on a wizard-on-wizard duel, which should be quite a bit of fun. Now, as far as my army goes, it is going to be a couple skeleton warriors in the front line. Not really investing too much there, because obviously I have a lot of other expensive, fancy Tomb Kings units here. So you have a Casket of Souls, which of course is very good against archers. We do have the Bone Giant to snipe the characters, dragons, birds, bolt throwers, things like that. Ark in the Black, of course, is very good. Buna and Spirit Leech are both very good assets against the High Elves. Oftentimes using Buna on Silver Helms and or Dragon Princes can be very good. And of course, Spirit Leech is good against the other aspect of High Elf play, which is single entity spam. Granted, it looks like Anticity does not really have any big monsters. Now, aside from that, in the back, we do have the Eyes of the Desert. And these guys are very good against aggressive cav play. And oftentimes High Elves will use Silver Helms and Reavers, and these guys are exceptional at dealing with both. On top of that, very good sniping against the characters and monsters, and I really do think they're a nice inclusion on the roster. We have a Khemerian War Sphinx, and in the back here we do have some hiding dudes. We got Nehekar Horsemen, some Skeleton Warriors, and in the back, taking a book out of the old page of King of the Dead with some Necropolis Knights, which I actually do think are good in this matchup. And part of me was like, maybe I should bring more of them here. They're very, very good stuff. And now for Anticity, a very cool build. So this is one way that the High Elves do deal with armor. You spam a ton of archers, so just like a million archers. He's got Lothern Seaguard, he's got standard archers, but what you do is you get a metal caster, you overcast Plague of Rust on the target, you put their armor down to 30, you nuke them with a million archers, and prosper. So that's pretty much his whole build here. And Shadow Warriors here as well, a couple Reavers. Teclis does, of course, have Flock of Doom and Regrowth. And that's pretty much going to be it. Very, very solid build, and very excited to show you guys this awesome game. So here you can see the giant Bone Giant shaft. I immediately do see the metal caster here. I'm like, nope, that is not going to be good. So I could shoot at Teclis, but Teclis does have the Potion of Kroy and, of course, can self-heal himself for free. So I figured investing in the Mage of Metal, who would be easier to break, would be the right choice. So another giant shaft right in the face of this mage, definitely not bad there. And now the High Elf ambush is sprung. So the Shadow Warriors have emerged here. But of course, I was kind of expecting some treachery here. So the Nehekar Horsemen are going to be rushing out. Unfortunately, they will be met by some Silver Helms, so I do pull back very quickly here and mitigate most of the incoming damage. And I also use a Skeleton Summon from Ark of the Black to just kind of push and keep these Shadow Warriors from really doing too much. In the meantime, Ark of the Black is going to be rushing in to help out against these Silver Helms and also the Eyes of the Desert. They have a lot of problems like shooting things that are in combat. Like, I feel like they should be able to shoot this, but I could have sworn, man, so much of this game I was like obstructed with these guys. But still, I mean, they of course are doing some decent damage despite being obstructed. So to kind of keep the other archers at bay, I kind of, was like, if these guys get too close to me, I'm just going to lose. So I do use the Khemerian War Sphinx here, but unfortunately I get caught in a net. Now that's a lot of Wind's Magic. He has cast Plague of Rust and also a net, if I'm not mistaken at this point. So it's a lot of Wind's Magic going down, but nonetheless, very good play. He's able to get a lot of HP off my Khemerian War Sphinx, and my whole distraction of trying to keep him from advancing isn't working so well. Ark in the Black going to be charging in, casting the Glorious Fate of Buna here on the Silver Helms, who have pulled back, and those bad boys are taking a lot of damage. And up on the high ground, it's actually going very, very good for me here. You can see the Necropolis Knights and the Skeleton Warriors and these other troops are absolutely dumpstering the Silver Helms. Necropolis Knights, of course, just another tier of cav, really. They're able to push in, push them back, and all the Shadow Warriors are on the run, which is great. Now, as far as the Casket goes, the Casket is firing, and what the hell is happening? Do you guys see that? What was that? Why did it not shoot? Oh my god. Is this really happening? So this game, this is the first time I've watched this replay back. In the entire game, I felt like the Casket just wasn't shooting. And I think what's happening is the Casket is shooting straight up into the tree and it's just getting caught in this like tiny little tree right here. Oh my god. That explains so much. I had the Casket shooting at his archers and other units the entire game and I was like, man, the Casket really isn't doing too much. Is that 0 kills? Anyways, guys, still, it's a wild game. Don't worry. It's not going to be dictating the outcome of the game necessarily. But yeah, that is a huge issue. Maybe there's a bug with it? Like, normally, like, the missiles aren't even coming out here. But, I mean, on the bright side of things, Anticity thinks it is. And he's sending in his forces to kind of take this bad boy out. Oh, my goodness. That explains so much. So here the Bone Giant still shooting downtown and is going after his characters. Khemerian War Sphinx is going to be in Mortal Kombat with Teclis, which probably isn't the best play. Should have pulled him back a little bit earlier. Another Fate of Buna is going to be going down here on the Silver Helms, locking those guys in place. And the Eyes of the Desert, still a little bit obstructed, are shooting. For things to really be shot by Eyes of the Desert, they really have to be in open field. It's a huge aspect of the game. But the Khemerian War Sphinx has fallen. His archer line has done a lot of damage. But a big part of this matchup, too, is wasting the ammunition of the High Elves. If they run out of ammo, you can really kill them with like chariots and other things. Even a Bone Giant would be a huge threat if they're out of ammo. So the Casket, it's so funny. It says it's firing. It doesn't say it's obstructed. It hasn't shot a single shot this entire game. I think I moved forward now. Not because I saw that during the game, just because I was trying to shoot something a little bit further back. And let's see if it actually shoots now, or maybe there's some sort of a bug with the Casket. Oh my god, that is just absurd. Anyways, back here we get a really good catch. Teclis does overextend a little bit, and the Eyes of the Desert, of course, being anti-large, are able to turn around and really beat down Teclis, who's actually wavering, and if we break him here, that's probably going to be a relatively game-breaking situation for the Hiles, but he is able to get away there, which is quite nice, and the Casket of Souls is shooting at some archers. Maybe there's some sort of an issue with it or something? I have no idea, but anyways, the Casket is scooting forward now, so clearly a misplay on my part, not paying attention to that. But nonetheless, we pull it back at this point. I think there might be some sort of an issue with it. I might have to test this in between games, actually. So Ark in the Black now is going to be trying to peel these Rangers off. Obviously, I don't want to be fighting them with the Eyes of the Desert. Granted, they're not bad in melee, so I do pull these guys back to go after the Silver Helms back here. And those guys are going to be going and definitely taking out those heavy cav, also using my Snake Knights to push these guys down. But the Bone Giant is going to be a big magnet for fire. He does have 9,000 HP, which at this point I was kind of like, oh man, a Necrotector would have been so nice for healing. Another shaft going into the face of Teclis here. And the Bone Giant, though, was also able to finish off the Metal Caster. So the Metal Caster just got absolutely nuked there. And here you can see the Silver Helms charging into the Eyes of the Desert, getting some good damage, but also taking a ton on the Overwatch as they do approach here. And Ark in the Black going to be dropping the Libra Mortis to give a huge buff and physical resist to all my troops here. And the Necropolis Knights, man, just so good in this matchup. Able to really clean up all the Silver Helms, push back the cav, and now the Bone Giant with a huge shaft into Teclis there. Absolute brutality. So at this point in the game, now that I've watched the replay back, basically fighting the game down resources. I haven't had, the casket, and basically, fighting down like 1,200 resources here. So certainly a very tough situation. But the Ushabti are going to be piling in on top of the archers, just trying to disrupt those guys. But I wonder if I should have maybe saved it for a little bit later. And that's one of the things with my Tomb Kings play. I always use the Ushabti a little bit too early here. But nonetheless, all the archers going in, a very nice net by Anticity there, able to catch the Eyes of the Desert, who do have 80 armor, and they do actually have some form of missile resist. Let's go ahead and take a look. I think it's like 15%. Yeah, it's actually 25. That makes them really, really strong against archers. Very tough to bring down. But the Bone Giant still going strong. And, every time he's focusing here on the eyes, that means that the Bone Giant is going to be lasting a little bit longer. Now Ark in the Black and the Sneaky Snake Cav are going to be taking a very aggressive approach. So we just start charging into these archer units, realizing that I can't really afford to play this game any longer. So the Ushabti Summon did do their job, broke some of the archers, and now we'll be piling into another unit of archers here. Should be able to get some good value here as the Skeleton Warriors do move their way in. And yeah, Skeleton Warriors won't win against Lothern Seaguard, but they will be able to occupy them for a long time. I wonder how that would actually go. 120 models against 68 is a big difference. But man, those Necropolis Knights are just linebackers, pushing through so much of the Hile Force, really getting good bouncing, going into the Shadow Warriors, moving in and out. I really do like them. I think there's a bit of a hidden gem. And again, King of the Dead certainly has opened my eyes to those bad boys. So here the Eyes of the Desert are now setting up, trying to get some pot shots where they can on some of these guys, but of course taking a fair amount of damage. These Lothern Seaguard shooting in, really, really painful stuff, and yeah, I don't know if there's a whole lot I can do against this. Going to be getting some shots against Teclis, I suppose, and this is a good opportunity for me. Teclis will be charging, and I do end up running, but in retrospect, I probably should have countercharged, but still, we're going to get a good amount of damage here. Teclis is once again surrounded, and this has been the folly of Teclis this entire game. Eyes of the Desert are monstrous, anti-large poison characters, and you can see the amount of damage Teclis is taking is brutal. And the Sneaky Snake Knights are coming in as well. A good Flock of Doom. I don't know how much damage Flock of Doom does against those type of units, but I do use the Tomb Blade of Arkan to summon some skeletons to try and muck up the advance of these Rangers, just to really make sure I can finish off Teclis. So, big issue is that the Bone Giant has fallen here, but Teclis is broken, so we'll do a little bit of fast forwarding as I do some chasing here, a little bit of Benny Hill. So here we have to chase off your boy Teclis, and the Necropolis Knights and Ark in the Black are going after him, and my Skeleton Summon here is still fighting, and my actual Skeletons over here on the far side are still fighting as well. But guys, if you look at the balance of power, I have pulled ahead this game, so despite the Casket not working, it looks like we might be in pretty good shape as we do go into the late game here. So the Skeletons are fighting, Ark in the Black's going to be coming in and just charging where he can. The really important thing for me here, now that I'm ahead in the game, is just to make sure that I can get my Skeleton Summons, because Arkan on his own will get wrecked by Lothern Seaguard. Of course, Anticity and I are playing under tournament rules, so if I don't have either Skeleton Summons on the battlefield or my actual Skeletons, I can't cycle charge. I have to stay still because I'm using a single entity. Which, of course, if you're in campaign, it wouldn't matter, right? You could just like run them out of ammo and cycle charge into Oblivion, and Arkan could probably take this entire army more or less. Although probably not, because Lothern Seaguard could sit still. You would probably still need your Skeleton Summons and some magic. Now, a huge, not intentional play here on my end. The big old curse is going to be going down, which does blast that entire Hile army, doing huge damage. And you can see the Hiles are starting to retreat, guys. We're pulling ahead on this bounce of power, and the Lothern Seaguard are very beat up. My Skeletons holding to the bitter end, taking their sweet time and crumbling, that's for sure, which is buying me time to cycle charge. So Ark in the Black, able to really get around and get quite nasty, running through all these Hile forces. And now, guys, we're going to be charging in with Arkan once again. Hopefully you don't mind the fast forwarding, but it's kind of a monotonous situation here. So Arkan is just going to be tanking this out, and you can see he's just like, just like, give me that Skeleton Summon. These are all basic archers and Shadow Warriors, none of which who have anti-large. The big threat to me, of course, is the Lothern Seaguard coming in, so I wait for them to come in. The trap is about to be sprung as Ark of the Black goes here, and yeah, he's getting his business, but here comes the fat skeleton summon. Suddenly 160 skeletons are here, and that's going to be brutal. I mean, Shadow Warriors are pretty good in melee combat, but still having that many bodies then, in accordance with tournament rules, allows me to start charging again. So what I do here is I get Ark in, I just start cleaning up the scraps where I can. You can see breaking off archers and Lothern Seaguard, taking a little bit of damage in the process, but the whole time my skeleton warriors are breaking things, and it's looking like there might be a mass high elf break here, guys. As you can see, just mass exodus of these high elf forces. Granted, my skeleton summon does break there, and Ark in the Black is going to be going down, and that's going to be game. So a little bit of a holding the suspense till the end there, but man, that was such a close game. And now that I've watched the replay back and noticed that my casket just didn't shoot the entire game, that explains so much. Like, it got 0 kills, and normally, I think had the casket been working, I think I would have had that game, like, for sure. Because you saw the situation, it was archers, but the casket could have easily cleared out like 2 Lothern Seaguard and 1 other archer there in the 4th quarter. So man, what a disappointment in that respect. But next time, it's not going to happen again. So having those things happen to you every now and then is really good for kind of a discovery and you know, not making those same mistakes again. But I wonder if there's like a bug with it, because it was just up against a tree. It said firing. It didn't say obstructed. It looked like it was opening the casket to shoot, but the missiles just disappeared. Like, it's like the tree opened a gateway to the warp and just like sucked them in, which was crazy. Anyways, Anticity played a very good game, not to take anything away from him. It was a very good play for sure. His Teclis play was solid, aside from being caught a couple times. He juked really well. And yeah, the mass archers with the Plague of Rust, definitely quite scary. But man, the Necropolis Knight's really, really good. And, you know, after the build, I was like, oh, maybe I should cut the casket. It just didn't do much there. But yeah, I think this build is still pretty good. I would like to maybe get rid of the Eyes of the Desert, actually, in retrospect, and just get another Necropolis Knight. I think that gives you probably a little bit more battlefield presence for the cost. But aside from that, I do like this. I think it's a decent build. So very well played to Anticity. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this Tomb King versus High Elf showdown. And yeah, so be careful with your caskets, guys, or else it'll make you pay the troll toll, and you will most certainly lose. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this Tomb King versus High Elf game. Well played to Anticity, the champ himself, and we'll see you guys next time. Take care.